All right, we are all the way live, and I'm just looking here, making sure it's coming up. My computer here. But thank you all so very much for tuning in on tonight. This is the My Favorite Girls and Alzheimer's Thursday night live. We do our lives, and so we're on tonight. I am extremely excited about our discussion on tonight. We have several guests. This is the first time that I've had as many guests on at one time. And so tonight we decided to do something a little bit different, to have a little bit of a panel discussion per se, as it relates to this no visitation order and the effects that it is having on patients and their families. And so I want to real quickly introduce our guests that we have on tonight. And as I introduce them, they'll say hello and what have you as they come on. And we'll give them that opportunity, and then we'll move on into our discussion. And so, first of all, having a little technical difficulties, but first of all, I want to welcome Miss Mary Daniel. She is a wife. She's a committed wife, as well as the I call her the author of the Facebook new group that's called Caregivers for Compromise. Isolation Kills Too. And I'm not sure if you all were able to view her story. She's been on several news outlets over these last couple weeks, and
Yes.
her story is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I read it and it just took my breath away to read about the commitment level that she has and that we should all have in this situation. And so Mary is our first guest. I want to welcome Mary. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you so much. I'm thrilled to be here with you.
All right. Then we have Dr. Juanita Barnett. She is the assistant professor of counseling at Alabama State University, as well as the director and the head counselor at her church's counseling center. So we're welcoming Dr. Juanita Barnett. Thank you so much, Dr. Juanita.
Hi, everyone.
Hey.
And then we have Tanya Wesley Powell. And Tanya, I might get this wrong. You can correct me, but Tanya is a retired Child Protective Services investigator with the Broward County Sheriff's Department. And
Yes,
Tanya
also
retired.
certified law enforcement agent.
Okay, all right. And she retired, and she is the primary caregiver for her mom, Mother Irma Hunter Wesley. Love Mother Wesley. So welcome, Tanya.
Thank you.
All right. And then last but certainly not least, well, two of them Judy, I think is having some issues, but have Gloria Harrell. She's a friend of mine. She's an educator at the Potter Street Elementary School in Bainbridge, Georgia. Just a friend of mine that I met some years ago, and we kind of chit chat back and forth. She's a great supporter of the My Favorite Girls and Alzheimer's Facebook page network, whatever it is you want to call, one of the first people to order one of my shorts. So, welcome, Gloria.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And I think Dr. Judy is somewhere. She's having a few technical difficulties. So when she
Can you hear me?
Go back.
We can hear you.
We can hear you. We just can't see you. Okay.
Okay, I'm coming. I'm gonna fix this thing. I'm gonna be on here tonight. I'm coming on. I am coming.
Fixed. But that is the one and only Dr. Judy Mandrell, who is the host of the Real Talk with Judy live radio show, as well as the founder of the Sister Girls Network. So whenever she's able to get that fixed, she'll pop up and join us in the conversation. But we brought this on because we want to bring in awareness, greater awareness. As you can see, the topic for the night is no visitation orders and its effects on the residents and patients and their families, their loved ones. And the group that Mary started, and let me backtrack a little bit. I myself, for those of you that have been following me and listening to me on Facebook and YouTube on these evenings that we're on. You know, but my story is quite different from theirs in the sense that I caregive for my mom and my grandmother who are at home. And I understand both of them have dementia. My mom's is a lot more advanced than my grandmother's, but I understand what it's like taking them out of the home. This past weekend, we were out for about 2 hours. For 2 hours and coming back was a total change because with everything going on, they haven't been out as much. Them going out and coming back, it was a total change. And so imagine we're now going on 4 months. We're in the 4th month of this isolation is what it is, basically. 4 months of no visitation, this ban on visitation. And then it's been extended for Florida for 2 more months. We can't do that. So that is why this conversation is going on tonight. And so I start out with Mary, talking to you, Mary, asking you some questions, and just want to give you a little bit of her background. And you can correct me at any point if I'm wrong in any of this, but I want to bring them from the beginning of your story to now.
Okay.
Is Steve, and you and Steve have been married for 24 years.
Correct.
And as I understand it, as with any couple, you all had plans and you were planning for retirement. Had your financial plan, all of that together. Gonna retire, gonna travel, going to enjoy the grandchildren at their games. And then Steve is diagnosed with early onset dementia at the age of 59.
Correct.
Okay, 59 years old. So then after some time passed, decision for his best care, best interest to place him in this living facility. And with that, you're able to do the things you need to do from that point until where we are now.
Steve was very social. He was a salesman by trade, and so he was always. I mean, when you hear people say you never meet a stranger, that was Steve. Relationship building was what his personality was all about. And so when he had to go on long-term disability and stop working, I kept him at home, and eventually got a full-time caregiver. But he was exit seeking and trying to leave the house. So we literally had to deadbolt him in the house. So he sat here all day long and watched television all day long. And by the time I got home, he was angry. He had been pinned up like a caged animal. And so very, very difficult decision to put him in memory care. But I did it because of the social aspect of it. So many people being able to be around people, walk freely, go outside. They have a beautiful courtyard where he is. He could go out on the putting green that they had there. They gave him a chair at the front desk. He was the official greeter. Every family member knew him. I mean, it was just the perfect scenario for him. He was just thriving there. And then I'm still working. I'm 9 years younger than he is. So he's 66 now. I'm 57. And I would go after work. And it was just our very nice routine. And it was really a break for me. I would go get there at dinner time. We would then go to his room after dinner. I would get him ready for bed, change his clothes, kind of tidy up everything, literally get him tucked into bed, watch TV with him for a couple hours, really the same television that we watched here at home, when he was here. And he would start falling asleep around 8 or 8:30, and I'd sneak out, or sometimes he would, he knew I was there and was leaving. And it was wonderful. And it was really working for us very, very well. On March 10th, I went to see him. And on March 11th, they called me and they told me that you can't come back.
Wow. Cannot imagine that at all. And I think the thing that was most interesting to me from your story when I read it is the fact that, you are able to take a job as a dishwasher, but not just walk in as a wife. That is still baffling to me.
Right.
Now as an employee there, are you obligated to, take tests on a regular basis? What are the steps have to take as an employee? What are the requirements as an employee?
Initially, I had to go through the whole gamut of tests, from drug tests, background screening, TB test, COVID test, lots of training, 20 hours worth of videos. Somebody said to me, "Are they actually going to make you wash dishes?" And I'm like, "No, they make me wash dishes." I mean, and as it should be. It's a totally legit job that I go in and I wash dishes. They tested me. I did 2 tests prior to going in. They tested me on my first day of work. I had already been tested that week. They will test me, in fact, every 2 weeks. So they told me I went today and worked today. And so I got to be with him tonight. And they will test me again tomorrow. My brother-in-law is a physician here in Jacksonville. And I went today and got a rapid test today and tested negative. I'm going to do that just personally for once a week. Again, I'm lucky that I have access to that. But for my own peace of mind, I mean, obviously, I take this very, very seriously. I absolutely cannot bring this virus into this, to his memory care center. They have not had any positive tests by anyone, and I absolutely can't do that. So I got tested this morning and was negative, and so I went in today. I did wash dishes, the dinner dishes, for 2 hours. And then I got to go be with him. And the great thing is we fall into our absolutely same routine. So I'm a little late in getting there to him after dinner because I've got to wash his dishes. But once I do that, we went to his room and same thing, changed him into shorts and a t-shirt for him to sleep, got him tucked into bed. We watched Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy, and I snuck out around 8 o'clock to come home and talk to y'all. So it's really, really nice. I'm incredibly fortunate. But I'm also moving forward. I have to do this. We have to strike while the iron's hot right now, and we have to get to our governor, and we need to talk to our governor so that I'm not the only one who gets this. It's absolutely ridiculous when you look at it from above, that I'm no different than, I mean, I would do this if it was just me as a caregiver. I could get tested. I will wear PPE. I'll do whatever you want me to do. Those are the stories that we're hearing on the Facebook or seeing on the Facebook.
Exactly.
So there has to be a better way than this.
Exactly. And I say the same thing. I'm like, if you're willing to do that, then there should be no reason why plan should not be set in place, that as you're phasing in for everything else, you're also phasing in for these essential caregivers, these essential family caregivers. Now, with Steve, with that, because I know how dementia goes. I mean, you mentioned being locked in. I know I've had to basically childproof my house totally, to keep my mom from wandering out. But in that interim, for those 114 days, was there any type of change in his behavior? Did you see any type of decline in his health mentally and or physically?
I did. He lost 10 pounds. He's lost 10 pounds. His weight has been very stable. And so for him, all of a sudden, right at the very beginning, within the first 6 weeks, had lost 10 pounds. His anxiety levels have been noticeably different. Not too long ago, really right before I started, I got a call from the center telling me that he had hit another patient. And we've been married 24 years. I have never, ever seen him hit anyone. It was actually a woman patient. And I mean, I've never seen him hit a man in a fight. That to me spoke volumes of what's happening in there, the stress level in there. And it's worrisome. It's very scary. I can't be there to say he doesn't have his verbal skills are very poor. He talks a lot, but I can't understand anything that he says. But I can reassure him, and I can put my arm around him, and I can settle him down, and I can talk to him about that that's not something that we can do. That we need to. That's not going to be good. You can't do that. And I have the ability to do that, but I couldn't. Even do it. They told me he was remorseful, actually. And this is exactly what they told me. Well, he's in his room now, just lying in bed. He's very sad. Well, that's heartbreaking. I mean, I need to be with him. If he's done something, he's misbehaved, he's feeling remorse for it, which is interesting that he would. Then that's what they told me. Oh, he's in his room by himself, just sad. Well, that makes me cry. I mean, I need to be there with him. Somebody needs to be there with him. You know, I can't imagine what's going through his mind. Little
Right.
things too. I would see twice we went to the window, and I've asked him repeatedly, please keep his television on 24/7. I want something stimulating him 24/7. And they can't do that all the time. And listen, I'm not faulting them. They are so overworked. They are
Yeah.
doing the very best that they can. But nobody
Yes.
can care for him like I can care for him. And that's why I need to be there.
Yeah. And that's very, very important. And you know, your story is totally different from thousands that I've read on the group, you know, where they're not as fortunate. You know, I mean, I see where you're able to still, because the facility where he is such a great facility, they're able to schedule the video calls for the days when you can't get there and you get the pictures, but that's not everybody's story. And, you know, just about
Mhm.
everyone knows that, you know, and no, you know, pun intended, no nothing, but there are some facilities that are not the greatest. And, you know, you do have the abuse, you have other things that go on in these facilities where you need that hands on.
That's right.
They don't understand, most especially when they are demented,
Mm-hmm.
understand change. And
Right.
imagine walking in PPE, you have on a gown, if there is an outbreak, you know, you have on a gown, you have on goggles or a mask, and it's bad enough that their loved one that they're used to being there is not there. But then you're bringing in somebody that I can't even recognize because I can't see you behind the mask. And then you're not able to touch me. You're not able. And so all of this is bad. We understand that initially, yes, absolutely. Nobody knew, and there's still answers we don't have. However, to continue this for months on end, cannot do that. That
It's cruel. We're bordering on cruelty now.
right.
I mean, we
Yeah.
really are. Dementia patients need touch. They need emotion. They need to feel connected to their family members in particular. And without that, their brains will just simply wither away. I mean, they'll just shut down and they withdraw. And I see that in the facility. I can see that in some of the patients in the facility. There's no question about that.
Yeah, so we got it. This is very, very important. And we have other people that are on, and we say thank you as well for visiting. There's Dorothy on here said that she offered to volunteer at her mom's facility. She's a nurse. And, you know, a lot of them, they're turned away when, even in reading about you, you know, just going back and saying, is there anything that I can, you know, and to be, and you're not the only one that I've seen where, you know, they've asked that question. They're willing. There was another young lady I saw who's going for a job, try to get a job. There's jobs that are open, but it should not have to be that way.
Right.
You know, should not have to be a case where I have to go work. And, you know, now with your testing, are you doing the swab or is it?
Today was nasal. Today was a nasal. I've actually done all of it. I've done at the center, they do mouth swabs. Today was the rapid test was a nasal swab. And then I did one at the city of Jacksonville that the city did down at the stadium, which was a throat swab. So I've had
Okay.
a wide range.
Okay. And so, you know, if you're willing to go to those lengths, you know, even doing a nasal swab, then they should know that, you know, this is very serious. So I'm going to switch gears for just a second. I'm going to come back to you, Mary. You just pop back on.
Priscilla, could I ask Mary a question right quickly? Mary, what can be done, or any of you all can answer, if anything, what can be done to perhaps get them to consider having family, especially the spouse or the children who care for these family members, to come in? Because I know it has to be expressing the dementia and the whole all Alzheimer in the patient. Is there any petition? Do you talk to the legislator, or what could be done? Have y'all looked into that?
We have, and that's part of what we're doing with the Facebook group. So very briefly, we have opened up, and in fact, right now we are making Facebook pages of our caregivers for compromise for every single state. We have 5,000 people on the page right now from every single state. We even have England, Scotland, some people from actually outside of the United States. So we want to be the model as in Florida. So what we're doing is putting together a position paper. Really, it's going to detail the things that we're asking the governor for. And the goal is for me and my group, our group, to present it to the governor. I think he knows who I am. I've been trying to get to him for months. So has everybody else on the Facebook page.
Right.
And one of the things that I'm saying to him is, you are ignoring us, and we're about to get really angry about that. Don't ignore us. We deserve to be talked about. We deserve to be talked to. We want a line of communication. We know right now they're not going to open it up right now. The numbers are so high, but we want to know the steps, and we want to know, how are we going to get there? We need real, tangible information. So we're putting together a position paper that says these are the things that we'd like. We'd like a point of communication. We want step-by-step guidelines. We want to know exactly what this road looks like. With no information, we're lost. We're helpless. And we need information right now. We're not saying open it up right now. We're saying these are the things that we need to see so that we feel comfortable moving forward, and we know there's hope. Right now, there's no hope. Right. So one of those things, for example, is we've done a survey of all 50 states, and we know what's working in other states. We're going to cite those things. Like, for example, the essential caregiver program that several states are now doing. I love that idea. One person is identified as the essential caregiver, and they get to go in. The other things are things like outdoor spaces, indoor clean rooms. We're going to give alternatives and say, this is what we want to do to get there. And this is not going to be a successful campaign. My state senator told me today, they're ready for your paper. I've talked to the governor's office. They'll be glad to take your paper. I'm not sending my paper. I'm not emailing my paper. I'm handing my paper to the governor, to his face. So he sees me, and he sees the other people that he has been ignoring. I happen to like this governor, but I am very unhappy with the way that he has treated us. And I think we need attention, and we deserve attention. This is a problem. We have isolated these patients to save their lives, and this isolation is going to kill them. And he's going to have huge collateral damage on his hands when all of these patients are counted that are actually dying. And let's remember, they are dying alone. And that is absolutely not acceptable.
Wow.
And that's it. I was going to come back to that, but that's a good way.
Sorry.
Oh, no problem. None whatsoever. Lisa Fisher on here, she says, not only that, but we can't visit. They take away the activities that keep them busy, eating together, bingo, exercising, haircut services, all of that. And so when you put them in a room by themselves, I saw a post earlier today where someone stated that they went to visit their mom and they said it's like prison. And that's unacceptable. That is totally unacceptable that you have someone in these facilities and they feel like not only them like they're prisoners, but they feel like they're prisoners. That's unacceptable. And so we have to make a change somewhere. You know, something has to give. And
let me mention, we do have plans after the governor. If we don't get anywhere with him, we have step-by-step plans of, I'm putting my hope in him. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt until he looks me in the eye or won't see me. I think that would be a grave mistake, and I just don't think he's going to do that right now. And I'm going to press until we make that happen. If he doesn't respond like we want, we do have other steps after that we are going to continue to proceed. We're not going to let this go. We've had it. And I said one other quick thing. You know, it's a grief. We're all feeling this sadness, this hopelessness, this helplessness. There's a grief to it. And it's a different kind of grief. It's not a grief that my husband has died. My husband is 5 miles away from me right now, but it's a grief that he's gone. And it's a grief that I can't be where I'm supposed to be. And I truly believe for many of us, this grief is now turning to anger. And that's not what we want to see. If he addresses us and talks about this and gives us a plan and works with us, then we can all win on this, and we can all proceed down this road to a great outcome where we can get back to our families.
Wow.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what we need. For those that are asking on the bottom, I'm scrolling there. The other young lady didn't come on. but there's a petition. There's actually several petitions. There's one that's scrolling on the bottom where, you can go on there, you can sign the petition. I shared it already on my page. I'm going to share it again. There's another one that's also posted in the comments. Somebody just posted, so we're going to also put that out there. But as many petitions as we can get out there that's saying the same thing, then somebody is going to hear and change is going to happen. We have Dorothy on here who's saying the grief is traumatic. It is. That's why we have Juanita on here. She's going to deal with that in just a few moments. But I want to get to Tanya, you as well as Pastor Judy as well. Just a few weeks ago, your mom was in the hospital, and it's the same, but a little bit different. But same with the hospitals. Can't get the hospitals, most especially if, and of course we understand with COVID, but other issues that are not COVID related, can't have visitors. And so being there and not being able to be with her for those 24 hours, what was that like?
Well, it really wasn't 24 hours. It was just it was 8 hours. However, it was at night. But when they put back in place where they couldn't have visitors, she was being discharged. However, prior to that, I had told my sister Robin, I said, if mom got to go to the hospital during this pandemic, I don't know what I'm going to do because they're not allowing visitors. But then my crazy thinking like Mary, I was like, well, I guess I'm gonna put my uniform back on, and I'll be a volunteer officer. Unbeknownst to them, I will be an officer to visit my mother. That's one. Or, sorry to say, Mary, it doesn't sound good, people, but in the lobby of the hospital, they sell uniforms. So I said I was going to be a volunteer active nurse by uniform. I was going to be a nurse.
I love it.
Number 3, I was going to be a volunteer doctor. Or number 4, I was going to do as Mary, find a job, and I was going to get there and work fast, fast. However, it was the 8 hours, but in those 8 hours, my mom was neglected and she was mentally and verbally abused by a nurse. And I walked in on it at the time. She was going off, and that's not my mother. That's not my mother's behavior. She was having a heart condition and she was sick. So I addressed them quickly and got them, together, because not all patients are, or patients' families are like myself or Mary, because Mary have connections with her brother-in-law being a doctor. So the thing is this, I gave them all the bylaws and guidelines of different things and reports that can happen. So I told them about the elderly abuse, and I told them about Jeffco, and I told them about the different commissions, and I made my reports, and I told them it's not acceptable. So, but my thing is this, Mary, I have another suggestion. The governor, he always announced where he's going to be to speak on this COVID. So I think that you should have someone to always show up to ask that question. That will get him insightful and keep this situation on his mind. Also, I think that like here we have local commissioners. I'm in Fort Lauderdale, so we have Commissioner Ken Thurston, which is our mayor. He would have a great concern because in one of the nursing homes that deal with Alzheimer's, a couple of those people died, and they had a lot of COVID in that nursing home. So they were all in uproar. So when someone gets things on their mind, that's when you, like you say, this is the time to start acting. So I think that we should need to get all these local officials involved to help you get to the governor so that the governor can hear and your concern.
I agree. That's a great idea.
Yeah, show up wherever he is.
Right.
Show up wherever he is.
Yeah,
right.
That's it. I'm like, you get there, unfortunately. And here's the thing, our healthcare professionals as well, they're dealing with a lot.
Yes.
They're short staffed. Same thing with these facilities. And that's the thing with the long-term care facilities, and a lot of it with the family, the essential family caregivers, they're going in and they go in a lot of times as help as well
Right.
because they are short staffed. And so,
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Mary is helping. I was helping. So they should, and that's another thing, Mary, you should add that you are helping the staff. You alleviate them with the stress to take care of the patient while you're there.
yeah, and all of that is very, very, very important. And so we're going to, as much as we can do, Mary, we're going to jump on, and we've jumped on several people. Sometimes I'm in tears reading some of these stories of some of these loved ones, and I mean, they don't know. I mean, I saw one picture of, because now all you have is the window visits. You have the window visit at quite a few of these facilities, and so what happens when they're on the second or third floor?
Right.
You don't get that. I saw a picture of one person that they posted where they're, I think it was the dad. He's on the second, third floor, and they're way out, almost in a retention pond, far enough back just to be able to see them. That
It's
doesn't make
unbelievable. I mean, really unbelievable when you
It
really
is.
think about how absolutely ridiculous this
Yeah.
is. But yet, I was there the other day, and his nurse practitioner got to go in. She's in a paper gown. This is before I got in. Paper gown, mask, gloves. They scan her forehead, and she goes perfectly fine.
Wow.
Right.
That makes no sense. It just makes no sense.
Yeah, and it's coming from
Right.
Diane McMillan. She's saying there was a mental health roundtable in Tampa today with the governor, and the effects of isolation with the elderly was not mentioned, only window visits and iPad use. And see, here's
Wow.
the thing with the iPad use. When you have someone that's demented, they don't understand
They
iPad.
don't. They
My
don't.
daughter, go ahead, Gloria. You had that experience as well?
My mother was in a car accident and she suffered a back injury. That was the reason that she went into the nursing home to have therapy. Well, when she got into the nursing home, she became depressed and she wouldn't eat. And it really set her back. She lost a lot of weight, and we didn't, okay, we thought that, okay, she kind of bounced back, started to do the therapy, but then she had a fall where she hit her head. And I really think that she had a concussion because after that, it seemed like her dementia kind of progressed a lot. Um, well, at first she was doing good to the point where I could bring her home on Sundays. Sometimes I could take her to church. I could handle her on my own. But then she became wheelchair bound. Just and they really don't have a lot of activities to keep them, you know, keep their limbs and everything. She got in the wheelchair. She forgot how to walk. And so it was just so hard. Like you said, when they don't know anything about looking at a phone or doing Facebook Live, if they have dementia. Um, the last around about October of last year, she began to not communicate with us. We could ask her questions and she may say yeah, or something like that, but that was it. So she couldn't tell us when she was hurting. She couldn't tell us when she was hungry. Couldn't tell us when she was uncomfortable. Well, she was also diabetic. She developed um, a sore her on her right heel. It started off about the size of a dime. Well, with her being confined to the bed and her heel continually to scrub on the mattress, it began to get larger to the point where it covered the whole back of her heel. Got to the point where she started going to the wound care doctor, and he all but told us that if it didn't start to do better, which the wound was getting close to her bone, and um, he all but told us that he was going to have to consider amputation. And I'm like, I was frightened because the wound wasn't getting well as just a wound. So how could my mama live through a foot amputation? And the day that the lockdown came, she had an appointment to the wound care doctor. So it was basically me and my two sisters that were caregivers. I would go to work. I would leave home. Well, I would get up like 5 or 5:30 in the morning. I have to be to work at 7, get off at 3, and I would go straight to the nursing home. I would stay there till about 7 or 7:30, and then I'd come home exhausted. So that particular day, me and my sister met up at the nursing home. So when I pulled into the parking lot, my sister met me at the car and she said, nursing home is on lockdown. You're not going to be able to go in and visit anymore. And my heart dropped. And I didn't know what to think. So we went on over to the appointment at the wound care doctor, and we saw the doctor. Um, he didn't do very much to her wound at that time. We came back, and I couldn't even say goodbye to my mama because I knew once they took her in, that was it.
Wow.
I couldn't even say goodbye. I just pushed her up to the door, and I walked away. It was only through a lot of prayer that I was able to accept that we wasn't going to be able to visit anymore. Well, we were still able to do her laundry. Shortly after that, we couldn't even do that anymore. Well, my mom passed 3 weeks after the lockdown began.
Oh, wow.
And to me, it was a blessing from God because my mama was suffering, not so much physically, but mentally. She was just going down. Um, and so I just couldn't believe. Well, the weekend that my mom passed was that Saturday. We got a call saying that she wasn't eating, and they was just gonna continue to watch her and to see how she was gonna do. So that Sunday she was about the same. So that Monday morning I got a call, and it was from the nursing home, and they said that they had to take my mama to the emergency room, which every now and then, she would have to, something, would happen, and she might have to go to the emergency room. And so the nurse said, y'all need to come. And I was kind of puzzled. I said, well, why are they telling us to come? Because the nursing home is on lockdown. The hospital is on lockdown. So I put on some clothes as fast as I can. I prayed all the way to the hospital. But at the same time, I just felt in my spirit that my mama was gone. Even though I was praying all the way, I got there, I met my sister outside, and once we got there, they took us in. Normally, when she goes to the ER, they would take us straight to the room where she is. But this particular time, they took us to another room, and they said the doctor is going to come and talk to you. Well, by that time, I already knew that my mama was passed.
And this was at the hospital?
And this was at the hospital.
Okay.
They let us go in to see her, and it was just it broke my heart. But at the same time, I was at peace because about 6 months prior to that, I started having visions and dreams about my mom's funeral. And I kept saying, Lord, why am I waking up through the night thinking about a funeral, who you gonna get to sing and how you gonna, this, that, and the other about a funeral. Well, I didn't understand until, after she was passed. I just said that that was God's way of trying to prepare me that, it wasn't going to be long before she passed away.
Yeah.
And like I said, I was at peace. I had to do a lot of praying during those 3 weeks. And I asked God to just give me peace because I had to have my sanity.
Yeah, and that's
Um,
very important. That's why we got, Juanita, because all of that is, and I'm gonna give her sidebar in just a moment to segue into that. But all of it, whether it's hospital care, whether it's long-term care, all any of it, it's very important that we get this information out. I saw a post here by Karen who said that she posted a lengthy comment on DeSantis's Facebook page regarding his sadly lacking roundtable discussion today. And she agrees, these iPads, these window visits, this stuff doesn't work. Not for everyone. For some it does, but for others, it does not work. My daughter lives in Orlando and she calls and talks to my mom, and my mom is more busy saying, "Oh, that's me." She's looking at
right. Right.
And so she's just like, that's me. It doesn't work. They have no idea. And
it
so
does.
we gotta do something about this. Juanita, real quick, talk to us. You haven't said and soaking it all in, but even at this particular point, you hear Gloria, you hear Mary and Tanya talking about just the dramatic impact. Somebody else, Doretha, says the grief is traumatic. What would you suggest, even while we're fighting this, while we're making our voices to be heard in this interim period, while we're fighting for this? What would you suggest people do so that they don't have a meltdown?
Well, I was glad to hear Mary and others identify what they're experiencing as grief, because it absolutely is. You're experiencing the loss of the presence of your loved one, of the normalcy of going to visit and be there and actively care for that loved one. And so it is absolutely very hard. It's difficult. Some of the things that I would suggest is at least talking about it. And discussing your experiences with others. What I love about the Facebook group, Priscilla added me to it, is that it gives people a platform to share their stories. And so being able to talk about it, to talk about your emotional responses, to talk about the pain associated with this, your just talking about it. There is a healing component to just being able to get it out. And so having a safe person, maybe journaling, but having a safe space and a safe person to talk to what you're experiencing during this moment is absolutely very critical. Another thing is, while we are definitely in uncertain times, what I will say is that it is not uncertain for your body to tell you when it's tired or exhausted. It is normal for your body to communicate to you when it starts experiencing emotional drain and tired and fatigue. And when your body's communicating to you like that, it is important and critical, and you owe it to yourself and your loved one to stop and listen to your body and to respond, even if it means, resting, eating properly, increasing physical activity, to just take care of your body. Because when COVID lifts, your loved one still wants you present and actively engaged and involved to be there when when we finally resolve this COVID situation. So it's very important to take care of yourself. It is a very challenging and hard process. But what I know, if I don't know anything else, what I do know, and why I love this profession so much, is that humans are resilient. They're strong, and when they think they can't make it, they find inner strength. They tap into their support system, and they keep going. And so what I appreciate is humans are resilient, but it's extremely hard. It's exhausting. You're advocating for yourself, for your loved ones, and you don't see, the end result. But every day you get up and you fight again. But remember to take care of yourself. It's very critical and crucial that you take care of yourself.
Yep, that's what somebody else just chimed in and said. Practice self-care.
Absolutely.
It is, because it becomes such a burden, because you not only are you trying to take care of your loved one, you also you gotta work, you gotta maintain your household. It's just so much. And I tell you, having a support group is very important, because once I started to read Priscilla's posts on Facebook, I just felt like, I'm like, I'm only trying to caregive for my mama who's in the nursing home. And then when I started to see her story and see her journey of taking care of her mother and her grandmother at home, I was like, well, I really didn't have it bad at all when I thought about her having to, do all of that. And it gave me a lot of strength, and of course, she had some funny things that she would tell, about her mother and her grandmother, and that helped me so much. It just, would pick me up on days when I would be kind of down, and I would, go on Facebook and I would see a post from her. I can't even tell you how much that meant to me to be able to read your stories.
Thank you.
And Priscilla,
Go ahead.
Priscilla, I'd like to also add that, you're the expert on you and your body. And so if practicing self-care, whatever that looks like, for some it's drinking coffee or a cup of tea, or just staying away from social media for a certain period of time, taking baths, whatever that self-care may look like, but you're the expert. And so when the grief and the sadness, the depression, the anxiety, when all of that begins to impact your activities of daily living, or when they begin to drive your decisions, then I do encourage people to seek a professional to help you navigate that process.
Yeah, you got to
And
know.
I second that, but at the same time, Dr. Juanita, a lot of people don't recognize self-care. A lot of people that taking care of others, or just taking care of others or themselves, don't really recognize how to do self-care. So that's important in these different outlets that they say, what are you doing? How can you do self-care to take care of you? How can you express your needs or your concern or your frustration? But I also wanted to tell Mary that I also think that you all should reach out and connect to the elderly abuse of Florida. So, and also the mental health, because the young lady Karen talked about the round table they had, but they didn't get to talk about your issue or the issues of anybody, caregivers or any loved ones that can't reach out to their family members that's in rehabs or hospitals or those things of that nature. And I'll never forget when my mom was getting ready to be discharged, they said, well, she's gonna go to rehab. I say, rehab for what? So they couldn't quite get it together. Why? And I said, no. She's already in half prison and here at this hospital. I said, and you all are very neglectful, and you're overwhelmed and you're busy. So she's gonna be discharged to rehab back to me. And but I explained to them that I said that you all are not testing your staff on a consistent basis. So just as much as you're testing your staff, then you can test the loved ones that's coming here to see their member. And I said to the head director of Plantation Hospital, I said to them, I find it baffling that I can run this hospital and I have not yet had a test. And when my mother arrived, they was like, "Oh, we're gonna test her." I said, "Okay, she's negative." So they test her, she's negative. So then the next day they said, "Oh, we gotta test her before she go to ICU." I said, "But she was already tested, she's negative." "Oh, we're gonna test her again." "Okay, negative." I said, "But what you're seeing is the signs of her heart and her lungs that's failing her at this time." And I said to them, I said, "You can't put everything on COVID as the CDC will like you to have. However, you need to understand the person that's caring for them is going to help you get them where they need to be." And they finally, with my persistence, they kind of understood what I had, where I came from, because they wasn't giving the medicine correctly. They wasn't giving it to her at the times needed. So you can't abruptly change medication and things for your loved ones. So it's so important that we advocate for these our loved ones, and you just got to get a lot of more components in there, because he needs to hear the importance of loved ones being involved with their sickly caregiver family members. It's so important. So I'm just sitting here trying to think of things that can connect with you all to make it a little bit bigger to get his attention.
Well, let me say this. The governor is number one. Number two is the ombudsman program and the elder affairs abuse program. So if we can't get anywhere through him asking nicely, then we'll start moving into legal action to, I mean, we're not going away. I can promise you.
And I was just thinking, as y'all see, I'm on. I tell you, I was gonna work.
You got it.
Things I got on here. You see, but one of the things I was thinking about too, do a press release with a whole lot of people.
Right.
So if you haven't done one, organize it. I see the sister on here from North Carolina, and the other one on here from Atlanta. Get you as many people as you can, and start doing press release. They listen to those press and be as adamant as you are, and then bringing a little joy with it, because and start saying, "Hey, look, we're gonna see our loved ones through this. They've been here. Did this with the governor. We're trying to get here, and go at their heart. What if your mama getting here?
Exactly.
What if your family?" So you got to go where he to find his mama name. Find some of the commission and start using their
his wife. I want his wife to understand my position.
That's it. That's it. So you go toward, because since you can't get to him, get his wife. Get her. Go to her aid.
Right.
Find her assistant's name, and I could get that for you. I get that assistant name for y'all. I know some people who know them, and so we can get some names and go to her. Talk about those little children and that little baby she just had. Right. So go to their heart, because everybody got a heart.
Just the defense of the governor, when his baby was born, he was not there. He did not go. So that I'm just letting you know, when his baby was born recently.
But he loves his family.
He does.
He just couldn't go because of his position and what's going on right here. But that man loves his wife, and he loves those children. And so, and his wife loves him.
And let me say, all of these, I have to say, for all of these politicians, we are not, this is not political for us at all. This is a heavy burden for everyone. It has to be, he has to go home at night and be exhausted. And so I want to be sure that I know that this is difficult, but you're absolutely right. I need him to look me in the eye, and I need him to see my heart, so he knows, he can feel it in the room. I need your help. Please get us back to our loved ones.
That's right.
Yeah. And so you go to their heart, all of y'all, because y'all saying some good things. And she was leading the round table today in Tampa on mental health. Yeah, because she cares. Right. She does. She cares. They care. So y'all are in a good place. We're in a good place in this COVID-19. And there's two types of power in the world. There's money and there's people. So if you don't have the money, get the people. Do a press conference about 100 women. Bring in some children. No, don't forget the grandmamas. Bring them up there Just talk about the love and compassion. Because one thing I honestly believe, and I wouldn't want to be in anybody's place making decision right now.
Right.
I not want to be in that place. But I do believe that they have a heart and concern for people. I believe that with all my heart.
Me too.
And they, but you just got to get there. And so, since you don't have his ear, go to the next ear.
I'm not done getting his ear. Yeah.
No. See what I'm saying is,
We was trying to get to the wife.
yeah,
No.
but see,
I understand. I'm going to
yeah,
him first. That's my
yeah.
number one. He knows who I am. I can promise you. I've been on every major network in
Yeah, you have.
Nashville. He knows who I am, and I want him to say no to me. And then we move on to the next, because all that's going to do is motivate me. If he says no, I will not meet with you. Well, game on, my friend. I am not walking away. So we've come too far to hear back now.
That's exactly how it has to be. And you know, for us, I mean, when you're looking at the Facebook page, you started that what, July 9th, somewhere around there.
We can go today. 1
Okay.
week. Yeah.
So 7 days. And in 7 days, there's almost 5,000 people. That's a lot all by itself. You have almost 5,000 people who are in there, you know, and they are
Engaged.
chiming in, you know, and this is hard. This is where, I mean, at the end of the day, and I said it to someone earlier, sometimes people don't stop and really look until, as you said, it's them. It's their
That's
situation,
right.
their
Yeah.
mom, their dad, their children. And so, you know, unfortunately, right now, that's not the case. But if we put enough of our moms and dads and all these in a space, you know, you can. I mean, because it's becoming inhumane. You know, it's
Yeah.
becoming an inhumane situation, and it's unacceptable. I guarantee you, if you stop paying at these facilities, then somebody will say something, because, you know, you're still paying. You can't go in to visit,
Right.
but where they live, and you still have to pay. But I guarantee you, somebody will open their ears if you're, you know, or they'll give up your slot, which is sad as well. But
And if they get inundated with all these abuse and neglect reports, they'll listen as well.
That's correct.
right,
And that's the thing that frightens me the most, is because as a caregiver for my mom, when I was there, you know, things were, you know, there were neglectful things that were going on with me sitting right there. And, you know, I can't even imagine the things, the neglect that might be going on now that family members are not there, are not present.
right, and that's major.
It is very major. And
It's very major.
yeah.
That's major.
My mother's roommate, Jennifer, my mom's was the second roommate that she had lost, that passed away. The young lady, the lady that was the roommate before my mom, she passed away. And now my mom has passed away. I did FaceTime with her the other day, and she couldn't even talk to me for crying, because she's so lonely.
Yeah.
She was used to having her grandmother there every day. You know, there all the laundry. You know, you used to could do their laundry. You know, we could take the laundry home and do it ourselves. But now everybody's laundry is being done together.
Yeah. Which means that this group is being lost. It's some of everything that's
not being sanitized either.
And you know, all of that is absolutely unacceptable. Listen, it's an hour later. I don't want to keep you all too much longer than now. I really don't. Somebody else just commented, if New York, of all places, can open up their long-term care facilities to visitors again, and Indiana can designate essential family caregivers for residents, why can't Florida? That is the $1 million question. We're not
right
for every family member to go in. If you can designate one
right
that can go in at least a few times a week for a couple of hours, that will make a difference.
Right.
And so that is what this conversation tonight has been about. We got to get somebody in because they need, as you said, Mary, they need those hugs. Need that love. One of the things that you said, even in your interview, you were talking about Steve and the fact that he does not recognize your name, but he recognizes your love. He recognizes the fact that you love him. And that he recognizes the fact that he is loved. And that is important for all of these patients. You know, they have to know that. And when you talk about a strenuous nursing staff and admin staff, it's it's unprecedented times. We don't know, but if we can get somebody in there, I'm not convinced that everybody that is being diagnosed with COVID actually has it. However, it's what it is. But I'm willing to get the testing. And, it's a lot. Trust me, to say you're going to get a swab of your nose every week, that is definitely love beyond measure. To take up your nose. Now, the swab in your throat you can do, but that other one looks very, very, very painful. I've been tested. I don't go anywhere on purpose because, I have two here at home with me. And so I'm very mindful of that. And I don't want to be in that situation where, God forbid, but they end up in the hospital and I can't go. That's a different level. And so I try and do what I need to do to stay home. But to even say that you're willing to do that, I think something has to give. And so, Mary, we're gonna I've been sharing different posts, what have you. We're gonna keep this conversation going even outside of this. I appreciate all of you for agreeing to come on, for agreeing to put our voices together. That's my thing. If we can all put our voice together, it will be louder. And truly, as the voices continue to come together, they're going to be heard as a scream, and somebody's going to have to move and do something. So thank you all so very much for your time. And we're going to push this. Find me anytime you see any type of petition coming across on Facebook, what have you. These essential care workers going in nursing homes, sign it. It takes a second to put your name in there, get these petitions out because they do help. They're counting people exposed to a COVID positive person as presumptive positive, which is elevated. That's absolutely true. So if you were exposed, then they will count you as a COVID positive case. Makes sense. However, we want to get our people in. And so as long as we're not testing positive, let's do what we got to do. Thank you all. Anybody else? Mary, give us the last, what's next on the agenda outside of getting those papers before the governor? What is it that you would like to leave with the agenda that's on the table right now, with the following that you have right now, with this audience? What's the most important thing that you want to leave that they hear and act on?
Don't give up. Don't give up. We can do this. We're going to get back in there. I'm 100% confident of it. We love these people and they need us. And stay tuned. We're gonna really try to help put blueprints out there for other states as well. Don't give up. Hang in there. And let's stay positive. I just want one quick thing. No politics. Right. Let's be all positive. Let's be together. Let's show our politicians that we can do this together. We're better together than we are divided.
Yes.
And thank you so much, Mary, for your sacrifices. I really, really admire you, what you're doing for your husband. I retired to take care of my mom. I'm very young and I retired to take care of her. And I like the fact that you got a job so you could be near to take care of your husband. I really appreciate that. You're very inspiring.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And for those that are wondering what Facebook page, what is that all about? That's the page. It's called Caregivers for Compromise, because isolation kills too. It is a great place as well. If you need to vent, it's a safe place for you to be able to go on and to vent. I don't share everything. There are some things that it's like, they're heart-wrenching. But I have been referring people because what I found out as a caregiver for me, even in what I've been doing with these lives and just the different things that I do with my favorite girl, it's all therapeutic as well as it's helping somebody else to get through this moment as well. Because as Mary said,
Absolutely.
we're gonna all get through this together. And
Yes.
and hopefully it won't be too long where we'll see this begin to open up. And the same way schools are opening and other things are opening, we'll be able to get back in and be able to see our loved ones. Thank you all again for everybody.
Thank you so much, Priscilla.
Tonight and
Thank you.
chimed in for your comments. Thank you, Gloria, Juanita, Tanya,
Thank you.
Mary. Thank you. And we'll keep it going. Y'all look out on the Facebook page. We'll share as Mary shares information. I'm going to put it out there. Let's rally behind it and get it done. Love you all so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good night. Be safe. Thank you.
All right.
Best of luck to you all.